so last second. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
And by the way, we are live. We did get the flag that in the little red thing in the corner in the upper left says that we're live. So I'm going to kind of go with that. So you have joined us live on the Infinite Inquisition show. This is the second flagship show that I've actually had on this new network, the Paralytics, or the Paranormal United crew, which thank you for having me, as well as Dark Horse Productions, my friend Chris and Kristen of Bigfoot and the Bunny. So be sure to be catching them next because they'll up right after me. And my very special guest who did show up very last second for me, which I super, super appreciate, Mr. Ken Allen, which I really do appreciate his willingness to be on my show, not knowing much about me, catching my first show, which was kind of a hot mess, but it was a good show because we, Chris and Kristen and myself, we all know each other pretty well, but what I know about Ken is pretty interesting, but I'm going to let Ken introduce himself because he's an interesting guy, actually. And Ken, I'll let you take it away. And thanks again for joining me on Infinite.
You are absolutely, most definitely welcome, dear.
Thank you.
So I am Ken Allen. I'm a sorcerer. I've been practicing magic in one form or another since I was about 11 years old. Been exposed to it all my life through my mother's side of the family. My mother is Sicilian. And her side of the family, they practice what's called Seiðr, which is a type of Sicilian/Italian folk magic. So I've been exposed to magic and mysticism and the occult since I was born, basically. But I specialize in working with demons, the jinn, angels on occasion, chaos magic, invocation, not so much as evocation, although I did start out using techniques of Solomonic magic, the Goetia, stuff like that. And then I kind of grew up a little bit and started working with what's called daemonolatry or demonolatry, where you don't really force the demon to appear. You work with the demon on its level, and you offer it things such as wine or its own sigil or public recognition, or even a little bit of blood, of your own blood. There's no soul selling. There's no killing people or animals or sacrificing or bloodletting or any of that crazy shit that mainstream and Hollywood would have you to believe. So my work with demons has been extremely positive, very powerful, and very benevolent.
Awesome. It sounds like you've had a very interesting and not only interesting, but fulfilling and very rounded experience with the spiritual realm. And I'm kind of excited to get to know the different layers of you, Ken, because you just seem so multifaceted.
Yeah, I'm like an onion, girl. It may freak you out. It may freak you out.
Trust. Nothing freaks me out at this point. In fact, I dare people to try to scare me at this point. I mean, I've got stuff in my other room that people don't even want to spend time with. So
reminds me of I practice Voodoo. Mm-hmm. New Orleans style Voodoo I do work with what's called the Petro Loa. Mm-hmm. If people that don't know what the Loa are, they are the gods of voodoo or Voodoo. I have a temple behind my house, way behind my house. I have a small temple out there with a podomitan. Podomitan is a pole. It's basically a pine pole where the spirits come up and they come down, invoking Papa Legba and Dambala and Baron Samedi and Maman Bridget and all the mysteries. And I do work and practice voodoo or Voodoo. It is a religious practice for me, not so much as a magical practice. People ask me all the time, what's the difference between hoodoo and voodoo? Well, the biggest difference between hoodoo and voodoo is voodoo or Voodoo is more of a religion, whereas hoodoo is more of a magical practice using Protestant and in some cases Catholic folk magic.
Yeah. And a lot of people get it kind of a little bit twisted, especially people who think that they necessarily are masters of either craft. And it's like they don't really mix interweaving between each other. There's a history behind every practice. There really is. I mean, there's the general folk magic, which actually blends more with the other than mm-hmm. traditional voodoo practices, which are huge and multifaceted because of the different cultures and countries that arranged it to come into being. I mean, wow, that's
people
in and of itself.
People have often asked me, well, what is hoodoo exactly? Well, hoodoo is a mixture of African American, European, and Native American folk magic and medicine. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
So
a lot of people are so intimidated. Like, I'm sure people who've probably met you and hear a little bit about this and that about you probably like, oh my gosh, he does this and that and works with demons and and it's like I'm interested to know about, because when I was reading your bio, honestly, I'm like working with the Catholic Church, and then you go into like, oh, so I also deal with demons as well, which is it's not entirely unheard of, but not a lot of people lay claim to that. So how did you
no,
do that?
no. Example, Eliphas Levi, for example, was a Catholic priest. I know you know who he is,
Yeah.
and he became one of the most world famous occultists. You know, I think that having that Catholic background has actually helped me quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
But yes, I do work with demons. I have a demon guardian, and I'm wearing his sigil tonight, Orobos.
Proudly.
Proudly, very proudly. Orobos has protected me. He has helped me. He has healed me. And I have a jinn spirit, DJINN. That's how I spell it. I've had a jinn spirit with me since I was, I don't know, my God, probably since I was born. But my earliest memory of him was probably when I was 5 or 6 years old. I actually saw him one time, and I can describe what he looked like to you.
Oh, wow.
But my parents and friends and family and friends of the family thought I had an imaginary friend. Well, no, he wasn't so imaginary. It was a jinn spirit. So I actually saw him when I was about 7 years old. He was standing in the bathroom. And this is going to sound weird. I don't know if this was in like the early 80s, because I was born in 1975. And this was in the early 80s. And I remember there was a bottle of what's called Pert shampoo. I don't know if anybody remembers that shit.
Yeah, before you said that, I saw a green bottle.
Okay.
I'm like,
nice. Pert shampoo. And it was, yeah, Pert shampoo. And I think the shampoo might have been green too. I don't remember.
And it smelled green.
Yeah, but he was in there, and he was very short, and he had a very large head, but he was humanoid, very large eyes, very large head. And he had two horns that started right here and ran along his skull and stopped at the base of his skull, like two large cornrows. That's what he looked like. And the funny thing was, I don't remember exactly the details, but I remember me and him got into a little bit of an argument, and I called him a whore. And, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, he didn't really get pissed off, and I was just a wee lad, so it didn't matter to me. But anyway, he's been with me all my life, and so and Orobos came into my life as well. So,
wow, that's really cool. That's really spectacular, actually. So a lot of people, would like to have something like that in their lives, wouldn't know what to do with it if they did have it. Something like jinns can actually run your life for you and run all over you if you don't know what you're doing. Actually, they can be kind of dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. In fact, I know from several seers, specifically Cuban seers, Cuban medicine men, that the jinn that follows me, that protects me, that guides me, is a very dark jinn. He is from the tribe of Ifrit.
And okay. If you don't mind my asking, how did you find out his background? Was this through like conversations in like the ether or something? Or does he just openly communicate with you through time? Or
most of it has been with communication using a hand drum. Okay. Let me explain. I will take a hand drum, and I learned this technique from my Miko. Miko is a Muskogee Creek Native American chief. Miko translates, most people translate the word Miko as chief, but its true translation is king. Okay. Anyway, I beat this hand drum at 220 beats per minute. That puts my mind into a theta state. That's where I was able to meet him on his frequency and or on his plane of existence. And yes, I got confirmation that way, but I also got confirmation from Puerto Rican, for lack of a better term, Puerto Rican medicine men. And also they're IFA, Babalos. I don't want to say too much about that because there's a lot of taboo there. I don't practice Ifa, but I've had Babalos tell me, yes, you do have a jinn before I even mention it.
That's cool. That's that you've got that kind of information. Not many people get that much information. Some people are like, I've got this spirit. It's been around me a long time. I don't know much about it.
He used to call my name. I remember he used to call my name. I'd be in the house by myself. Mama and daddy would be outside or whatever, and I would be in the house by myself, and I would hear him say, he wouldn't say Ken, he would say Kenneth, 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 multiple times. Yeah. And I thought, okay, is my sister in here? Is mama in here? Is that no, nobody's in here. But it never freaked me out. Maybe it was because I was so young. Maybe I was too young to know to be freaked out. But I don't know. It just never bothered me. It doesn't bother me to this day.
Or it could be like myself when you're into the paranormal stuff because it kind of came to you as a child. It really doesn't surprise you through time, and it doesn't bother you after a while.
Yeah,
you kind of get familiar with it.
Exactly. I mean, as long as I've been doing this stuff, I hear a lot of people, oh my God, I got freaked out because this happened and that happened. And it's like, I don't even bat an eye anymore.
Mm-hmm. I hear you on that. It's like, or you find people who like, oh, I've got a drawer that opens every once in a while. It's like, you only have a drawer that opens once in a while?
Right. Only.
I wish that was the only thing that happened around here. Like missing keys, moved furniture, all kinds of stuff, or the technical difficulties, or my phone doesn't go working for like 3 or 4 days. It's because spiritual junk.
And the missing keys is a big thing. I mean, that's usually those trickster spirits. I do work with a lot of trickster spirits. I used to work with Loki a lot. A lot of people think of Loki from the Marvel and all that bullshit, but no, that's not who Loki is. I actually had a very intimate sexual encounter with the real Loki, the redheaded Loki, the beautiful pale Loki, who has the scars from where his lips were sewn together. If you know anything about Scandinavian / Germanic lore, I had a very intimate, albeit short, relationship with him. It was, girl, baby. So intense.
Once you go spirit, it's hard to go back. I can tell you.
Amen,
I do know. It's like, well, nothing really compares to the cowboy.
That's right, baby.
They don't.
Yes, honey. Yeah.
He's still hanging around. That's why my relationships are crap. It's because he doesn't want anybody else around me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is what it is. But when you get into all of this, I mean, when you have all these spiritual practices, I want to touch a little bit on the subject that I was going to try to talk about, being health conscious, especially when you have protect your spirits or want to have protect your spirits or try to find a way to protect yourself. So much with social media, and this is kind of a bone of contention. People air their spleen and ideal on social media, and they don't guard what they're typing, what they're talking, what they're speaking over yourself, because 9/10 of everything that comes to your outcome is because you brought it onto yourself, whether you want to believe it or not. And so a lot of stuff you're going to have to, like if you want better things in your life, or you want to heal or invoke healing things to you, you're going to have to start projecting that into the universe. So what would you say about that, Ken?
I mean, obviously you're 100% correct. For me, it's look, I'm kind of a dark horse. I'm sure Chris and Kristen would appreciate that. I'm kind of a dark horse. I usually go for broke. I do work with demons. I do work with Lucifer. I do work with the underworld deities. I do practice necromancy. Mm-hmm. It's not a big deal to me. It's not. It's where I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be doing. It's who I am. It's what I am.
It's what you were created for, essentially.
It's what I was created for.
Yes.
I'm not a light worker, although I have been in situations. Okay, I knew that, but I could just feel that.
It's like, nope.
Yeah, I could feel that, but it's like I have been in situations where I had to perform banishings, and I've had to perform exorcisms. Yeah. And I've had to perform exorcisms on human spirits. I've had to perform exorcisms on demons. And I've had to perform exorcisms on angels before too.
I've seen that's actually a lot more common than a lot of people think. And thank you for bringing that up, Ken, because a lot of people don't realize that asking for angelic help is not always in your best interest. As much as you want to go all airy-fairy on it, there's some angels out there that don't want to even talk to you, let alone deal with anything that you have to say, because, by the way, they don't work for us at all. They're only messengers. So
right. And because they are conscious beings, because they are conscious beings, they do have their own needs, wants, and desires. And just real quick, I'm not going to go into detail because I've talked about it 1,000 times on hundreds of podcasts. Had a situation, a couple moved into a decommissioned church. There was an angel there who was harassing them, doing various things, flushing the toilets, turning the sinks on at night, opening and closing the windows in the middle of the night, pushing them, shoving them, knocking books off shelves. He was fucking mad because it was no longer a Catholic church. So anyway, I contacted my demon guardian, Orobos, and Orobos was like, dude, this is not one of our people. This is an angel. So I worked with Orobos to banish this angel. So there you go. Exactly what you said, more or less.
It's like, my other bone of contention, how everybody thinks how angels are so beautiful. Yeah, they're beautiful, but if you saw a real one, you'd probably crap your pants.
You would. I mean, the Bible, I've said this before too, the Bible, every time an angel shows up in the Bible, most of the time it is fear ye not, or be ye not afraid, or some shit like that, because they're fixing to fuck some shit up, baby.
Yep. And it's like, if you've ever seen what they actually like, most Christian people have never read the Apocrypha and don't know what the description of an actual angelic being actually looks like. On the average, they have more than 2 or 3 or 4 pairs of eyes.
Absolutely.
And other appendages and all kinds of stuff that you're not.
6 wings, like the angels that supposedly surround the throne of God. They have like 6 wings and angel and eyes all over their bodies, et cetera, and they say glory, 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 night and day, et cetera. My question is, why in the hell would any supreme being need something to praise it like that all the time? But I guess that's for another podcast. I don't know.
That's another topic too, because I was actually thinking about that in the shower today, Ken. It's like, do you realize that half the people worshiping the God that they think that they're worshiping are not worshiping the same God that other people are worshiping, because it's an entirely different being altogether.
That's right. Amen. See, you're connected.
You don't understand the differences. It's like why it's so funny, the adage in Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, when they say, when somebody asks you if you're a god, what your answer is? Yes.
Yeah. Are you a god? No. You idiot.
Exactly. It's like, if you're working with any other kind of being, you need to not only hold on to your butt, but hold on to your ground, because anything literally can happen. And it has. I mean, I've almost gone deaf in one of my ears working with angels. And
they can be extremely, extremely dangerous. Working with demons for me have been extremely beneficial. I've had no bad experiences whatsoever. It's the same way with working with my Ouija board. I have a Ouija board. I ain't gonna lie, and I'm not boasting, but I bought a very expensive one. And I've had no bad experiences with the Ouija board. You hear, oh my God, it burst into flames, it floated, it levitated, it did this, it did that. Okay, fine, whatever. I've had no bad experiences working with Ouija boards, and I've had no Zozo did not come through. And nothing comes through my Ouija board that I do not want to come through it. And as far as circle casting, yes, you can cast a circle. That's fine. But when I cast a circle working in a demonolatry context, I don't cast a circle to keep anything out. I cast a circle to concentrate those energies, those spirit energies, or those demonic energies. I am not like your average, sorcerer or magician. I'm not all about the god names and doing the lesser banishing ritual, the Penata, Malkuth, Vegabora, Vegadula, Lielochem, Adonai, and all that shit. I do my thing, baby.
Yeah, Ave. But the thing is that everything has its point and purpose, and as you're doing, it's the way you're doing it and how you go about the certain steps. Like if you're doing Enochian magic, you would be going through those certain steps to do that certain one thing, because that's what you do in ritual to do the thing that you're doing. However, it may not always work, but there might be that one time that you were off by 3 or 4 degrees, and the moon was right, and you get your butt knocked off.
That's why when people contact, and I've had a lady contact me tonight, as a matter of fact, because I gave my opinion in some witch group that's all fluff bunny, unicorns, and ice cream out of the ass type group, you know? Yeah. I know, it's sickening. It's nauseating, right?
Yeah.
And I gave my opinion, and I think I got kicked out of the group. But before I got kicked out, she saw my message and she contacted me privately, and she wants to know, the best way to work with demons outside of a goetic Solomonic magical context. And I'm like, demonolatry, S. Connolly. I know you're familiar with her, S. Connolly. That's a great way to do it. Now, keep in mind, the word demonolatry or demonolatry means the worship of demons. Yes. Okay, that's fine. That's great. Whatever, baby. If that rocks your boat, do it. I do not worship demons. I do not worship the devil. I do not worship anything. But I prefer to work with demons in a demonolatry context. It's nicer, and it works a hell of a lot better, and it's almost instantaneous.
Yeah, and that's why you see a lot of younger people who are, let's say, the demographic of old school butt rock, sacrificing kittens in the graveyard. That's demonolatry right there, and that's, some of them have been successful, and that's where you see all this. It's like, you know what? If I smoke a gram of DMT and go sacrifice a kitten, I'm probably going to see some shit too.
Well, hell yeah, hell yeah. But I practice demonolatry, and I don't sacrifice anything. I will give an offering of wine. Mm-hmm. Or I will give public recognition, like, okay, my mother's in the hospital. She's sick. She had a stroke, December 11th, something like that. Yeah. So I said, fuck this. I contacted the demon Buer, who is a demon of healing, among many other things. And I said, if you will do this, I poured him out some alcohol too. It was actually, I think it was wild turkey or some shit. He didn't care. And I poured some alcohol out, and I said, if you will do this, I will give you an offering of alcohol, and I will give you public recognition. So on my group, on my podcast, The Wizard's Table, I said, I would like to give public recognition to the goetic spirit Buer. Mm-hmm. And I did that. Anyway, my mother came out of the coma the very next day. Boom.
Oh, heck yeah.
Instantaneously. Awesome. So real quick, Courtney Carras asked, Ken Allen, have you ever used a Ouija board in a cemetery? And if so, do you get better results in an older cemetery? You know what, baby? Mm-hmm. I get results from Ouija board no matter where I'm at. Doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, me too.
And I have used them at old cemeteries. But yeah, it doesn't matter. I still get results.
How are you seeing the comments? I have chat on, but I don't see anything coming through. Do you have something else running?
Are you on private chat or comments? Because I have a private chat and I have comments.
Sorry,
comments.
I derped. Sorry,
Go
guys.
To comments.
Yeah. I totally derped.
You should see them now, baby.
Yeah, I should if I put my glasses on. Let's see. Sorry, guys, I'm blind. Yeah, sorry, guys. So now I know to hit comments instead of derpy private chat. Derp. But yeah, that's like when people think paranormal activity is a lot more prolific at the nighttime. There's scarier crap walking around during the day, I can tell you.
Yes, absolutely. And
it's not seen as well.
Yeah. In fact, me and Chris Carr and Kristen Johnson from Bigfoot and the Bunny podcast, we've talked about that because they do a lot of investigations during the day. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, look, the spirits, the energy, whatever the hell you want to call it, it's there. It doesn't matter if it's 1 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That energy is still there.
Yep.
It looks great on camera.
Yeah.
When you're there at night, it gives that ambiance, but you're still going to get activity.
Oh yeah. You're going to get activity any time, but ritualistic stuff a lot of times does have to happen at certain times of the day or night, depending on the moon or the day or whatever. Because
and I'm glad you said I'm glad you said day or night, because there are certain demons who prefer to be worked with during the day.
Yeah.
And certain ones that prefer to be worked with during the night. So yeah, absolutely. When I first started practicing Solomonic magic, I was extremely traditional to the point that it was fucking exhausting, girl. Because you have to fast for like 7 or 8 days.
Oh
You
yeah.
have to burn frankincense and myrrh for like a month. You have to do all this crazy shit. And I did that, and it was just so time consuming. But then I was like, I can't do this, especially when my son came around. I was like, I can't do this shit anymore.
Yeah.
I just don't,
That's
I
hard.
simply do not have time. So that's when I kind of made the conversion over to the demonolatry aspect of working with goetic spirits. And it's just as, if not more effective.
Yeah. And on that note, if anybody's ever curious, and I actually found this movie by happenstance. The movie's called A Dark Song. And I don't know, Ken, if you've ever seen it, but it's an indie movie from the UK.
I
It takes
haven't.
place in Wales. But if you ever want to see what being in ritual magic actually happens, kind of, it takes a super duper long time, and you're sequestered for a really long time. You're doing the
Yeah.
circles for a really long time. You're starving yourself. You're with a master, usually, if you're that lucky. But this movie takes place in very super realistic. So A Dark Song. And but like I said, it's kind of a slow burn, but ritualistic magic is not quick and easy. So if you're ever interested what it kind of unfolds into, there you go. Because it actually shows this woman who bargains with this person who is some kind of shamanic magician of some sort. You don't hear the entire conversation, you just kind of hear bits and pieces of it. She lures him with the cash, and then he decides that she's not telling him the entire truth, which is true. And then they end up sequestered in this house in the middle, like BFE nowhere. And
Yeah.
a lot of things transpire. And through all of that, it's just you get to see the circles and the castings and the different Solomonic languages that you speak. And it's not just what you think. There's different languages that the different deities actually speak, and they're hieratic or whatever language that you're going to try to communicate to them in. And if they're not liking any of it, you've got to erase everything that you just did that took days to do and start all over again.
Yeah. Solomonic ritual magic, ceremonial magic, specifically ceremonial magic. It's a pain in the ass.
It is a pain.
It's so hard. It's grueling. I mean, I would rather have my ass beat with a barbed wire,
Well, it could be pleasant up until the barbed wire.
I was fixing to say, that's why I cocked my head to the side. I'm like, wait a minute, that shit might be fun.
Right? Depending. But yeah, I mean, well, we've got a question if there's what was that last one? Something about if there's a one offering over another that would be better for.
Courtney Carras said, Ken Allen, what else besides alcohol do you use as offerings? Is it usually something that can be eaten, smoked, or drunk? Absolutely. It's not always alcohol. I mean, baby, you can leave tobacco. You can leave, well, hell, I've left bologna before,
Oh, wow.
Depends on the spirit.
Fried bologna.
Huh?
Fried bologna is good for spirits too.
Fried bologna is great. But yeah, it doesn't always have to be alcohol. Grape juice, you can use grape juice, you can use cranberry juice, you can use apple juice. And one of the things I used to do, or would still do, is I'll take a piece of cardboard, just a tiny sliver of cardboard, and I would poke my finger, right? And I would let my blood saturate that cardboard, and I would burn it on a candle and offer that to the demonic entity.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've met some other person, I'm not going to mention their name, that actually sacrifices chickens to different demons to get certain things, and I've never actually heard of that. But if the demons are all right with it, then I guess.
Well, the thing is, most people that practice any kind of sacrifice, especially in Voodoo, if they do sacrifice an animal, the thing is, it's not like the animal is, the throat is cut or the head's cut off and it's just left there to rot. Usually, it's just the blood, and then the meat and everything else is used and eaten. The bones are used for whatever. to make talismans, and the congregation usually devours the meat and cooks the meat and eats it. So it's like, okay, you're going to kill this chicken's going to be killed anyway to be eaten. So why not sacrifice it to some sort of spirit or deity or god or demon to further, benefit the tribe of people or whatever. So
the bleeding of and the casting of entrails or whatever you're into, things like that. I mean, my daughter actually, we did a goat because, well, we eat meat and stuff like that, but we figured, well, my daughter's learning to be a pagan, which I'm very proud of, but teaching her how to do certain things is actually kind of fun and interesting at the same time. And I love making the neighbors nervous.
Well, fortunately, I live deep in the forest. I live in the woods of North Florida, so my neighbors can't see me.
Yeah, my daughter lives in North Carolina, so
okay.
I live in South Florida, so I drive past you on my way up there.
Oh yeah, so I'm in Wakulla County, so.
All right, so I drive right straight past you.
Yeah.
Every time, but she lives up in the Tuliwads in what is it, Tryon, which is covered in kudzu. You'd never see
that damn kudzu. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's even here. It's everywhere. But you can eat that shit.
Yeah, you can do lots of stuff with kudzu, and you can make it into paper. People ate it during the Civil War and the Revolutionary War because there wasn't any food.
Yeah, you can eat it. Yeah.
You can make it into paper. You can make it into clothing. It's kind of it's kind of a vicious, weed, whatever.
It's very evasive. And I guess we need to get our asses out there and start eating that shit, baby.
That's why my daughter has goats to eat all the kudzu.
Yeah, I've got goats and horses, and they eat the hell out of it.
Nice.
So
I have to ask, with all of the work that you've done with demons, do you have like a favorite story as of recent time working with somebody that things went better? Hey, Greg.
Just with me, I don't usually work. I usually work alone. Is that what you're asking, or are you asking, have I worked with something?
Working with a demon where you have like let's say a special memory of a work that you did.
Oh, absolutely. Paimon.
Really went well, because they don't always go, like, I'm trying to give a special kind of recognition that demons aren't always the worst things that could actually happen. In fact, I wish people would understand they're not cute and fluffy, but either are angels.
Right. Right. Yeah, me and you are on the same freaking level, baby, about the angels and the demons thing. So I tell you, you totally have my respect there.
Yeah, you gotta choose your battles.
That's right, honey. Okay, so yeah, I've had Ouroboros, obviously, Bune, Stolas, and Paimon. Those are demons that I've worked with great intimacy. And I don't just mean in a I'm not talking about a sexual way. I'm just talking about
knowing them intimately. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I will admit that when I first summoned Paimon in a demonolatry context, whoo, god damn. Girl, when he started manifesting, it was very pixelated. Okay. Most of the time for me, when a demon does manifest, because they do manifest, all right, they use the energy around them. The room does get cold and very quiet, and sometimes you'll get this ear ringing. There's a medical thing for that ear ringing shit you get. I can't remember what it's called.
Tinnitus, almost.
Yes, exactly, like a tinnitus. You get like this extreme, overwhelming amount of tinnitus when they start to manifest, but it's pixelated, like when your satellite television goes out during a storm. And your TV gets pixelated. That's what it's like when they come through. But when Paimon showed up, holy shit, he was fine as wine, girl, fine as wine. Add an ice cube, because that shit was hot, baby.
Nice.
And I wanted to do a lot of things, but
right. Woo! Well, we only have time for this, right? Gotta get to it.
Yeah. It was a very, very quick manifestation. It was a quick conversation, and then poof, he was gone, But so we didn't have time for all that other stuff. But he was beautiful. He had like long, light brown hair, beautiful body. He was probably he looked to be between the ages of 35 and 40, a very good looking masculine man. So, but I had invoked Paimon to help me increase my knowledge of the occult. And he did that. He did that. He came to me in my dreams, like 12 nights in a row, which is almost unheard of. And I kept a journal next to my bed, and I wrote this down, and I wrote that down, and it was hell for me to wake up every time I'd have these dreams, girl. It was, you know how it is. It's hard as hell to wake up.
It is.
But you force yourself to do that shit. Now, luckily, most of these nights I had to pee anyway.
It's like, all right.
So I got my ass out of bed, and I had the freaking, I'm not kidding, baby, girl. I had the journal with me. I was urinating and writing, baby, urinating and writing that shit, girl.
Right? Because otherwise, I don't know about you, but it's like I've got to write it down like super immediate. Like I'll actually go to record it vocally, like sometimes, because otherwise, if I wait a little bit too long, then it's like
you're gonna forget it. Yeah. I mean, okay, check this out, baby. There was one night I was so damn tired, but I knew I had to write this shit down. I sat down on the toilet like a woman and pissed.
It's like, I'm going to double team this.
But it was so relieving. Oh my God, it felt so good to sit down and pee. It was like, now I know why y'all bitches like that shit.
Yeah, the peeing and standing up is doable, but it's a little hard.
But it has its benefits, especially if you're on the side of the freeway.
Yeah, on the side of the freeway, or you're surrounded by, that there's probably timber rattlers around, and you're like, well, maybe I don't want to get that close to that.
Girl, and we got them down here in Florida.
Oh yeah, you got to be careful. But
but anyway, Paimon's been good to me. Ouroboros has been good to me. Stolas has been good to me. And Bune has been good to me. In fact, they referenced Stolas quite a bit on the show, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Did you ever watch it?
Yes. Yeah. I was going to start asking you about that. If you notice, as an occult person like myself, that Sabrina, Supernatural, what's that? The Owls of Gahuli. There's another children's Disney oriented program that has names of demons for the owls, which I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that. I'm like, so what are we doing now? Because you got my attention. So is this for the good or for the bad that we're actually doing this, guys? Because there's ways that you can go about to do things that aren't so great, and there's ways you can do things that are actually good. It's just capturing the entity's ideals for your own benefit is the thing. Is kind of swaying it with the kind of thing that it wants. It's like, where am I going with this? Like people who want to work with these kind of entities. And the reason why I like to try to caution people is like, you may want to do that, but if you break off too large of a piece, and you may end up having to call persons like yourself or myself because you're getting sick, you're waking up with nosebleeds, you're hearing voices and seeing shadows all the time, because they will mess with you because they find it entertaining. It's not because it's evil as F. It's because they get enjoyment from you suffering. It's comical.
Exactly. 100%. I'm glad you said that, because that's basically what it is. That's the truth. And they all know to stay away from my son. They know if they mess with my son, all hell's going to break loose from me. And they don't fucking want that.
No, because they like the connection that they have with you.
Exactly.
They have a rapport with certain ones, that the smaller, lesser ones, and I am going to say lesser, the lesser ones are not going to mess with the ones that you have befriended because they're scared of them.
And speaking of lesser, bigger, I've went into situations where I've had to perform exorcisms by calling upon superior demons to banish lesser demons.
Yeah.
And that works 100 times better than doing a Catholic exorcism.
Yeah.
It really does.
I'm telling your big brother. No, actually, screw that. I'm gonna tell your grandfather. How's that?
Yeah, Mistress B, my co-host on the Wizard's Table, says that I'm like the occult Karen.
I'm calling your manager.
Yeah. But I've done that before, and it does work. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I agree with.
But the demons that I mentioned, Ouroboros and Ouroboros and Stolas and Bune and Dior and Paimon, I have a great relationship with those guys. So
yeah, and just because you think somebody's cool, or like I really like the recognition spiritually that some of these guys are getting. I just don't like the context that they're putting them in, because it
Hmm.
makes them seem like they're really easy to reach out to. And in some contexts, yes. In other contexts, maybe not so much. But like I said earlier, sometimes people can hit the lottery with just a glass of wine and a prick of the finger, and it's
Right.
not our fault that they're retards and they got it right the first time.
Right.
It's just that who was listening and gave a crap at the time that it happened.
Well, speaking of money and the lottery, every Bune is a demon. Well, he's a demon. Each one of these demons have multiple things they can do. All right, to say, oh well, this demon can only do this, or this demon can only do that. You know, it's like saying, oh well, Zeus can only do this, or you know, Poseidon can only do. That's bullshit. They can do a lot of different things, right? You know where I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying. But anyway, Bune is known for his money.
Mhm.
So every time I have done a petition to Bune for money, girl, I'm serious. I swear I have gained no less than $500 every time I have engaged with Bune.
Well, heck yeah. That's a good friendship right there.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
He must really like you, because that's not very entirely common. Just to say, I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just saying that for other people, that's not common. So he really likes Ken a lot.
I mean, I've been doing this stuff a long time,
Yeah.
baby. So, and I've taken the time to actually, and that's the thing, you have to take time to build relation. You can't just go to these spirits out of the blue and say, "Oh, I need this and I need that," and then, you know, 7, 8 years later, come back again.
Yeah.
You have to continue to work with them and build a
Yes.
relationship with them.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You can't go trying to get what you, this is the thing though. You try to get what you want because you want to win that $100,000 scratch off ticket. Well, they realize what you're trying to do, and they'll be coming back and say, "Well, you got what you wanted. What are you giving me?"
Right. And forget, you know, I tell a lot of people when it comes to these demons, forget what you know about Christianity.
You're
Most
right.
demons are actually ancient elder gods that date back to
Yeah.
Mesopotamia, Samaria, Canaan,
Yep.
Egypt, et cetera, et cetera. You know where I'm at, baby.
Yep. Yep.
They're
All
elder
the way.
gods.
Yes. They are elder of the elder gods, and you do not sit there and shake your finger and laugh and go, "I'm just going to stick an exorcist on you." And it's like, you realize that ordering an exorcist not only takes a really super long time to do, but a lot of times it's just going to make it take longer. I'm just going
And
to
it will make it worse because it
it'll
just
make it a
pisses
lot
them off.
worse.
It's like, who the fuck do you think you are? Do you know who you're dealing with? That kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, it might be great for the drama and everything, or to get a camera crew in there, because it's I mean, seriously, not everything is
Yeah.
going to be like, The Exorcist or like The Entity or anything else. It's going to be, some of it is like watching somebody all of a sudden have like a nervous tick, or they have like all of a sudden, like their eyes will be a different color and they start acting a different way. Or you get people who are sick for like years.
Well,
It doesn't
okay.
always come out another personality,
That reminds
not for a long time.
yeah, that reminds me of possession. You know, in
Mhm.
Voodoo or Voodoo, specifically Haitian Voodoo, there is a person being horsed. Being horsed means being possessed by the Loa, by the Mystery, by the
Mhm.
spirit, by the god of the gods of Voodoo, and that's done on purpose. That's done on purpose. And
Mhm.
sometimes these entities will horse you for a very, very good reason. They will possess you for a very good reason. So, you know,
Yes.
getting the Catholic Church involved, or there's a lot of analyzation and
A lot
analytical
of red
time.
tape.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of that shit that has to go into that, because you don't know why this entity is possessing this person. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to harm this person, or they're doing maybe there's a serious fucking message they need to get across to humanity.
Or yeah, that's another thing, and thank you for saying it just like that, Ken. Is it's that we're not trying to make it look like they're altogether good and all that other stuff, but what makes you think that other beings are altogether of light and of good? Sometimes they have bigger things to say, like, "Hey, maybe I had a message for this person, they weren't getting it, and now I'm kind of beating it into their hide."
I
Or
was at a Baptist church one time, okay, and this woman was talking in tongues, okay.
I hate that.
Yeah, I know. And she was talking in tongues, which tongues is supposed to be the language of angels, right?
Hmm.
and she was talking in tongue. This bitch turned around and slapped the woman in the pew behind and knocked that hoe on the ground, girl.
Woo, I wish I was there. That would have been fun.
It's like, oh, an angel channeled through you, and her hair was stacked from here to, them Pentecostal women, girl, they got that hair way up here like that, like fucking 18 cans of hairspray holding that shit up. A bird could live in that shit, but she slapped that bitch across the damn pew, talking about an angel told me to do this to get you right with the Lord.
Yeah, I've seen that. For those of you that are just getting to know me, I actually work for a lot of Christian churches. I've done it since I was a child, and I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my God!" But really, seriously, I've done a lot of work for churches. I'm a musician by day, so that's what I do. But it's funny that when you see people go up, and I've actually seen a woman who was professed to be bursting with the power of the Lord, and I was standing in the back in the booth going, that ain't the power of the Lord that they think it is. But I'm like,
the Holy Spirit.
Let's watch what happens. Holy Spirit activate, baby. Let's see what happens here. We're getting pizza after this. It's crazy stuff.
Aquanet, yeah.
Yeah, the power of Aquanet. Yes. Rock on, Chicago. The power of Aquanet compels you.
See, that yeah, they know what I'm talking about. But
exactly. But
yeah, so okay, so I love the fact that I think earlier you said Enochian,
yeah,
as opposed to Enochian.
Yeah,
because I pronounce it Enochian. Also, it makes more sense. Enoch / Enochian.
Yeah,
it makes more sense that way. And I've dabbled with that a little bit, but I've never truly been. Yeah, and I have worked with the Archangels, Michael and Gabriel and Oriel and all those guys and Raphael. But I guess it's my darker night. I don't fucking know, girl. I just cannot make the connection that I can with demons.
Well, I think that there's kind of a duality to it. It's like if you ever see pictures of my altar, I do a lot of double doses of, like Santa Muerte, but I've got the Virgin Mary. I'm not Catholic. I was raised Protestant and Catholic. My dad's Russian Orthodox and my mom's a Methodist. So where I became pagan, I have zero ideas, but I've been like this my entire life. So, I think there's kind of like a special duality between the angels and the demons, that there's just kind of like this kind of small margin of space between the spaces. And there's kind of an offshoot between the different ones. Because I've seen a lot of different parallels, like Azrael and Azazel and all these other ones that be like, oh, they're so good. I'm like, do you know what Azrael does for a living?
Right. Exactly.
You know who he really is?
That's right. Exactly.
Let's not get it twisted.
That's it. He cuts you off, baby.
Very, very gladly, actually.
He's happy when he does that shit.
Exactly. He's only happy when it rains.
Like Garbage. Remember them? Exactly. That group?
Yes.
I'm only happy when it rains. Shirley Manson, lead singer.
Exactly. But the thing is, there's this duality where people see, and that's if you lay everything out, and I invite everybody to do the same, as much as we're practitioners of the occult, is try to look at things differently, like through somebody else's eyes, and go, hey, if I lay all this out on the table, can I see the parallels between this one and that one, or this one over here, which makes no sense because it's a different culture entirely. But if I bring it over here, it's kind of like this Norse god over there. But that wouldn't make any sense because that guy wasn't even introduced until the 15th century. Mm-hmm. So how does that even? Humanity is crazy.
I kind of like what Anne Marie Young is saying right there. She says, do you find the people who shine the brightest lights are often really dark? Things are completely upside down and backwards. Absolutely,
yep.
Baby.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
Bingo. Yeah. Bingo.
Yep. And
those are the people that I steer from. Those are the people I stay away from. Yes.
Yeah. That the people that are, and that's the thing though, is it's always the best and the brightest that think they're doing the most good. And I like to invite you to understand that even though you think that you're doing the best for the world, or you think that you are, you're probably crushing somebody's soul at the same time.
Right. That's right.
You're always going to be you're always going to be the bad guy in somebody else's scenario. Always. Not even part of the time. That's always.
And I don't believe in absolutes.
Yep.
I don't believe in absolute good, absolute evil. Those anything, and I've said this before on other podcasts, including the Wizard's Table, nothing absolute can exist.
Exactly.
It's not a reality.
Thank you, Sandy. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Sandy Griffin. Love Sandy.
Yeah, you're awesome, girl. But the thing is that you need to, a lot of people, not you, Ken, but the general people need to understand that there's so many different facets to spirituality that have nothing to do with whether something's good or bad. You need to look at it as it is, flat on the table. It's like, take away the good, take away the bad. What are the facets that they have other than you putting your tag on it? I hate labels. I super hate labels. Just throw them out the window. It's like, you deal with that one deity because of its help for you. Don't deal with the deity because you think it's good or you think that it's bad.
That's
deal
right.
with it because it's good for you and what you're needing that deity for.
Amen, honey. Damn it, girl. Woo.
I'm the spiritual Yoda. I'm the occult Yoda.
Girl, you need a lightsaber up in that mug. You're right. No, I agree with you 100%. 100%.
And so we're running, we don't want to run into Chris and Kristen's show, Bigfoot and the Bunny, which is right up after us. I'm going to try to catch Ken and bring him in on my show on Saturday for Infinite Inquisition Part 2 and try to bring in for a Part 2 because I'm sure we could keep going on for days on this subject. And we'll see if he has any availability for that Saturday show. We're still talking about it. So
as far as it looks now, baby, I'm good to go.
Awesome. But we'll see what tomorrow brings because we're all so busy and I totally understand. But thank you again. And thank you everybody for listening to Infinite Inquisition. And Ken, can you tell them where they can find you, please?
Yes. Just go to Facebook and look up the Wizard's Table podcast. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube and I'm on Spotify. The Wizard's Table podcast, babies.
Woo! Yes. Awesome and great getting to know you, Ken. You're amazing. And thanks
you too,
again
baby.
so much. And everybody have a wonderful night. And remember, Bigfoot and the Bunny is right up next. And we will see you later. Later, guys. Love you. Mwah. Bye-bye.